Hey everybody, I have to say that this has been an interesting week. Interesting and revealing. At the beginning of this week, I revealed that the Over the Polls 2018 venture was not happening due to apparent fraud on the part of the organizer. The reaction online was swift and was expected, but there were some reactions that caught me a little by surprise. First off, the backers of my Kickstarter have so far been universally supportive, and I guess that wasn't surprising. Since I wasn't offering a product of monetary value, it's more than likely that the donations were made in support of me and what I do, and as long as I continue to do that, their support will continue. The reaction from my allied subscribers has been nearly universally positive as well. I say allied subscribers because I know that I also have subs that follow me because they are in opposition to me. But there's been a limited vibe of ownership coming from a few of my subscribers. When I get 3,000 comments on a video in 3 days, I don't see the vast majority of the comments, mostly the ones I approve or trash from the spam filter. Yet some of my defenders have expected me to be giving them extra attention at this time and felt slighted by my lack of response to them, when the fact is, I never saw their comments in the first place. The concept that if you support someone online, you own a bit of them is interesting and a little surprising. But what was more interesting was the sense of ownership that those that don't agree with me have displayed. People that can't stand me and are reveling in this outcome are approaching me on comment threads, Twitter, Facebook, personal emails, demanding that I produce for them whatever evidence they request from me in order to prove that I wasn't profiting from this fraud. Some have gone so far to imply that I was behind the entire thing, while others have directly stated that I took this Kickstarter funds for myself and will use this fraud to not give it back. Now, I'm not going to mince words here. These people don't care about my backers. They smell blood in the water and they want to feed. Take Fepe Perth, who has approached me by email and in the comments, asking, then demanding, and then threatening to call the FBI if I don't produce the evidence that I bought a ticket. Because you see, he's investigated this. He's contacted the ticket vendor, Zing Events, and asked if I bought a ticket was purchased by Jerry Williams, and they said no. And he's gone around the internet telling this to everyone he can, and it's popped up in a lot of videos. Because if Jerry Williams didn't purchase a ticket, he must have just taken the money. Now, he's right that a ticket wasn't purchased under the name Jerry Williams. It was purchased under the name that is on my driver's license, which is Gerald Williams. Eagle-eyed viewers of my videos will have noticed when I announced that I had registered for the flight with the deposit in this video, it says Gerald Williams. Now, I didn't expect these folks to have done that type of digging, but if they were truly looking for some information, they could have listened to my responses and got the info they wanted. Perth, Ranty Flat Earth, and others asked for evidence of my communication with Zing about the fraud, and my response was that I only owed that type of information to my backers. And if any of you had bothered to go to my Kickstarter page and looked at the updates, you would have seen this exchange between myself and Zing about the fraud. Note that my name in the exchange is Gerald. Also note that I told them to be aware of people trying to get information from them about me. Anyway, it's been a busy week and I didn't have the time nor the desire to give information to people that are inquiring for their own self-interest. But it's the weekend and their BS has gone on long enough. So here are a few things. This is the Zing Events member page that shows that I was attending the event. Going into the event section, there is an area with access to the invoice and a ticket. This section here has a purchase date and confirms my ticket again. Is that enough evidence that I did not pocket the funds? How about the wire transfer paperwork showing Zing as the recipient? Is that enough evidence that I'm not the perpetrator of this fraud? Of course not. Whatever I give these people, they're going to want more. So I've presented these things for my supporters for the most part, so they can rest assured that when these detractors make statements purely to slander my character, that they have no leg to stand on. Technically, I guess it would be libel, since it's written and published. Now, I don't expect this to stop. I don't expect this to be the end of any criticism of me for this failure. But if my detractors bring this up as a way of dismissing any criticism I have of their flat earth fantasy, that's just evidence that they can't handle my claims, so they resort to attacking my character. And they lose the argument by default. And by the way, not every flat earther acted deplorably over the past week. Sure, you had your D-marbles that shouted, "World Star!" and described me as looking devastated in my video because they desperately need me to be weak. And you had your Nathan Oakley crew that described me as being emotionless in my video because they want to paint me as nefarious. But you also had a few common man flat earthers that don't necessarily care for me, but genuinely recognize this as not something to celebrate. For example, there were these two flat earthers here on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, Patricia Steer and Mark Sargent. I've heard of Mark Sargent, but I don't follow his work, and I'm not familiar with Patricia. But I was sent this link to their video where they discussed the collapse of my venture, and they were, I have to say, surprisingly even-handed. They took the information in for what it was and discussed it without attempting to assign blame on me since they had no evidence of it. Even as people fed them biased information through the chat window, they didn't take it as fact and deftly stayed out of the mud. And to them, I tip my hat. Patricia, Mark, I don't know you. I'm damn sure I don't agree with you on most things, but I respect the way you handled this situation, and I thank you both. And once again, I want to thank all of those people that have shown their support for me over this last week. I can't reply to all of you personally, but I do appreciate it all. Now, with all that out of the way, it's time to get back to work.